The sun had long set, and a blood-red haze clung to the horizon. A lone traveler, weary from days of travel, pulled his horse to a stop. He'd heard of the Bender family, a quiet group living off the main trail, offering rest to those in need. The cabin stood there, an oasis in the vast Kansas plains, the lights flickering from within. The door creaked open as the traveler approached, unaware of the horrors waiting behind the Benders' warm hospitality. What he didn't know was that the Bender family was about to claim yet another victim. In the early 1870s, travelers were drawn to the promise of food, shelter, and safety along the Santa Fe Trail. The Benders, John, his wife Elvira, their son John Jr., and their daughter Kate, had a small homestead that seemed perfect for a weary soul looking for rest. But what no one knew was that beneath the surface, the Benders were hiding a chilling secret, one that would haunt the frontier forever. As the traveler stepped inside, Kate Bender greeted him with a smile, speaking softly of her psychic abilities. Her charm was undeniable, and she lured him deeper into the cabin to a long wooden table where a meal had been laid out. The family watched him with unsettling silence, their eyes cold, waiting. But it was not kindness in their hearts, it was calculation. Kate would begin to talk of spirits, her words flowing smoothly as her father John Bender quietly prepared in the back room. The traveler, relaxing in the warmth of the cabin, felt safe, maybe even a little special to have been welcomed so. But as the meal continued, the trap was set. Suddenly, the family would act. In a brutal, silent motion, John or his son John Jr. would strike, swinging a heavy axe, the blow landing with a sickening thud on the traveler's skull. His body would be dragged under the floorboards, where they had already hidden countless other victims. And just like that, another soul would vanish, never to be heard from again. It wasn't until 1873 that the disappearances began to draw attention. Townsfolk had whispered about the Benders for years. Strange disappearances, travelers gone missing without a trace. But no one dared speak too loudly. That is, until a local man named George Newton, whose brother had disappeared after stopping at the Benders' cabin, led a search for the missing people. When the search party arrived at the Bender cabin, they found more than they could have ever imagined. Beneath the floorboards, human remains, some only bones, others still fresh, were unearthed. At least 12 bodies, some mutilated, had been hidden away in the cabin. It was clear now. The Benders were not a family offering hospitality. They were cold-blooded murderers, systematically killing travelers for their valuables. But by the time the searchers had uncovered the truth, the Bender family had vanished. Their homestead, once a place of death, was abandoned. No one knew where they had gone. The townspeople, horrified by the discovery, launched a manhunt, but the Benders were never found. Some believed they had escaped across the border to another part of the country, while others feared they had met their end in a more fitting manner, victims of their own cruelty. To this day, the fate of the Benders remains a mystery. Were they truly caught? Did they slip into obscurity, their names buried in the blood-soaked soil they left behind? Or were they still out there, hiding in the shadows, waiting for another victim to cross their path? The story of the Bender family is one of the darkest chapters in the history of the American frontier. They were a family of killers, disguised as kind strangers, using their hospitality as a deadly lure. Their tale serves as a reminder that, even in the wildest corners of the frontier, some dangers are much closer than they appear. Thank you for listening to Deserted Trails. Subscribe for more forgotten stories from the old frontier.